Okay, going live. All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Peace. Appreciate everybody for being here today. We're going to continue in some of the vein in which we've been working in. Hooray! For those of you that haven't had a chance to sign in, please make sure you do so. And we are going to be working on, we're working on talking about building our economics. But in order to build economics, we have to first recognize who we are and why we would want to build economic base. So we're gonna talk about us in a couple different ways. First and foremost, we're gonna talk about who we are as a people. Presently, as you know, most of us, we're gonna go through just like we normally do, and some of this is gonna be refresher, some of it's gonna be new to some people that haven't seen it. And we shift this over so it captures that. Yes. Cool. All right. So, as we all know, at one particular point in time, we were born into the earth. We all come through a mother and father. Okay. The mother is the vessel in which every living being or soul comes into the earth. Okay. So the mother holds the seed, and the child is born. Generally, the child is born at a hospital. Okay. Most people are born in a hospital, and so therefore we're going to use that particular way of thinking at this moment. When you're born in a hospital, hospitals are governed by what body of government? State government. Okay. They normally receive funding, whether it be federal or state. So they're governed by state government generally. Okay, and that's not in every circumstance, but we're going to deal with the generals. Okay, so since they're regulated by state government, automatically once a birth certificate is produced, you are now governed by two different entities on this landmass. One being the United States, the other being your state jurisdiction. Your state jurisdiction, the way the actual birth certificate works is, if you notice, every time you register within the what? The state, right? You don't go to the government and register. You're registering within the state. So that birth certificate is a document that has been produced. If I remember correctly, it was back in 1929 when the birth certificate came about. And what ended up happening is it created what's called a gross domestic product. What it did was it created another form of slavery, but that was unbeknownst to most people, because they're thinking, I'm becoming a 14th Amendment citizen. That's what the birth certificate does. It creates a 14th Amendment citizen. As such, it's considered to be an adhesion document. An adhesion document means that one person signs it. Who normally signs the birth certificate? Mother. The mother, right. So when she signs that birth certificate, literally what she's doing is saying, I'm giving my rights to you, the state, to govern me based upon the United States. So it's automatic. It automatically contractualizes the mother to give away the child. The reason why we know this is because if you look at when if God forbid someone says, hey, your children are being abused, who comes in? The state. Right? And they'll take your children from you. Right. Well, if it's your child, how can the state take your children? It's because of that document. So that document automatically creates a certain thing, and it's a bond that is able to be traded openly. And that's why you're considered to be the gross domestic product. Prior to the quote-unquote abolishment of slavery, the gross domestic product for each slave owner was the slave, because you actually went out into the land, into the field, and you produced. And so therefore, from a financial base, you were their economic product that they actually had. Now granted, were they making money off of other products? Of course. You their product, went out and picked cotton and that was part of their gross domestic product. You went out and you chopped trees and created lumber, and that became part of it. You went out and milked the cow. You went out and got the eggs. You went out and did ironwork. You did masonry. You did all these different things that were considered part of gross domestic product. But the end all was that you, the physical laborer, was not costing them anything other than food.
That's right.
And barely having shelter.
That's right.
So when it came down to it, it was a form of dehumanization, which fell under what was called not only dehumanization, but it's denationalization. They despiritualized you. They took away your culture, deculturalization, and all these different things were happening all at once. Now, the United States 14th Amendment citizenship came in after the quote-unquote abolishment of slavery, and after they noticed that from a financial standpoint, the actual economic piece of the United States was going down. So they created these bonds called birth certificate to bolster the economics of the United States. Okay, so who and what is a 14th Amendment citizen? Number one, the states are 14th Amendment citizens, corporations, businesses, and people. Now, this is the funny part, because prior to the 14th Amendment, a company could not sue an individual person. But when they created the birth certificate, it took you out of being flesh and blood and made you into a corporation. That's why when you look at the birth certificate, your name is in all caps. So it's really not talking about the flesh and blood person, it's created a corporation. So it put all these different entities on the same level, which then allowed for lawsuits and things to come in.
Right.
Okay. What ended up occurring is that it created what's called a social security number, which now is a tracking device to allow for them to see what you were doing. So now they could track all of your assets. Not only that, but they're able to track activity in certain ways, and all of that was then put into what's called the UCC-1. Okay, UCC-1 is a financial statement relative to who you are. Okay, and of course we know that the highest financial output that anyone ever has within their lifetime is taxation. Okay. So when that bond is created with the birth certificate, you go out and they go out and they actually make money off that bond by saying, hey, this particular gross domestic product is going to create X amount of money, and this has been proven statistically over time that they're going to render anywhere from $35,000 to $50,000 to $100,000, depending upon a whole bunch of different things. Because remember, they look at ethnicity, they look at gender, all these different things, and they're able to produce money from these bonds based upon these things, life expectancy, all these things. And now they're going to go out and get money on these bonds, but who's responsible for paying the bond is you, the corporate citizen. So what we have been able to do, we created what's considered to be a plebiscite. Okay, so creating, literally saying, hey, I choose to embrace my indigenous status, and so I am now going to become a part of a group, of indigenous group within the Americas, this particular one being ARNA, Aboriginal Republic of North America, which provides a certain level of protection. Within the 14th Amendment, it never said you had to become a 14th Amendment citizen. It's that you choose whether you're going to be that or not. You can choose to be an indigenous citizen, and in such, it provides certain protections. So instead of having a regular birth certificate, you have what's considered to be a certificate of live birth. You also have baptismal record. What happens is a trust is formed, which gives you an EIN number, which puts you under being a 501(d), which is exempt from taxation. Okay. But not only does it create exemption from taxation, it creates what's considered to be sovereign status. You can't be sovereign unto yourself. When you're sovereign, sovereignness comes unto being part of a nation. It's a group. If your finger decided, hey, I want to be sovereign and walk away from your body, how long would it last? Okay, it only produces a certain thing. So what we must do is bring it back together and allow the body to work as a whole. The body being each individual person that becomes a part of the plebiscite. You then operate within one of the 12 ministries. Okay, you can do me a favor and X that out right there. So you become one of the 12 ministries. What happens is a trust is produced, and with that trust that's produced, you then can move all of your assets. That's the right one. All the assets that are produced can be moved over. So what happens is, literally, your UCC1 that has been created to track all of the various things can be moved over there. But what we call the straw man, meaning that corporate citizen that was created, is moved into your trust. So you still, essentially, you still own that corporation that was created. It's just moved from under the 14th Amendment citizenship into the status of being part of your trust. All of your assets, your social security number is moved over there, your 401ks, your life insurance, your driver's license, your car insurance, the credit that you have, everything can be moved from your 14th Amendment citizen status into the trust. The only document that you do not want to continue to exist is the birth certificate, because the birth certificate is part of that 14th Amendment citizenship, which locks you into that contract with the state and the United States. Does that make sense? Okay. So now that we have a somewhat of an understanding of how this comes together, we watched a video earlier where Sister Soldier was talking about our status and how we're operating presently, and about the economic disparity that's happening in the community, and the education and the degradation of who we are as a people that's consistent to the lack of education, due to the lack of economics, due to the lack of social, due to the lack of political. So I want to, since you guys had a chance to watch it, I want your feedback as to what it spoke to you, and then what we'll do is we'll continue the conversation from there.
You explained it already.
What video was that? From what session was that? What session was it? Like, what was going on in the video? What
you just saw the video?
No, what conference was it?
Oh, it was actually it was Phil Donahue.
It was a show. It wasn't.
It was a show. If you look up on YouTube, Sister Soldier on Phil Donahue, you'll find it.
Okay, so it wasn't a forum of people who were discussing.
It was a forum.
It was a show.
It was a group. It was a show.
Yeah, but discussing what? But discussing what?
You just saw the video, right? Let's discuss that, and then we'll get into the detail of that video after. Because I want to, because we're recording. So.
All right. Okay.
Right.
I was just wondering what the topic of the whole discussion was on. Is it race? Is it what?
Well, see, Troy did a lot of it for us anyway, but he wants some feedback from us.
Right. I want to stay on topic, and I mean, granted, we can get into that afterward because of the fact.
Yeah, it is good.
Right. I just want to stay on topic with what we're discussing, and then you can get a chance to look up that video, and we'll look at it before you go. I'll make sure that you know where it is and know how to locate it. So, based upon what you saw, what stood out for you? What spoke to you relative to that video?
Well, to me, myself, personally, real quick, she's basically speaking on we need to keep our children more informed. Yeah, looking at them while they're yet young, stop them from getting killing and being killed.
I think the major thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
The major thing she talked about was history. She kept saying, that's how she got to know who she was, self, knowing who you are, and the institutions don't offer that because that's who you are. You're just out there not knowing who you are, no education on how to succeed, no background information on who you are. So that leads to, African Americans being unsuccessful or not being productive in the system.
Being molded to be, or being molded as society wants to be.
And also learning to be more business and operating and having businesses, business running.
Okay, so she talked about businesses. What did she say happened to our businesses?
I was like, man, Ku Klux Klan and everybody when we started this, that's what they came to do. Everything knock it down, push it down, mutter this. Don't let them be, even in that school, so don't teach them to be business minded. Teach them to be a worker always. That's all tied to what she was saying to me. I got that from it,
Okay. But she's also saying that every time our people have succeeded, that white people have come to destroy it.
Okay.
In one or the other.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
They didn't, but here's the thing.
Black Wall Street, Jim Crow, same thing.
They didn't come in.
What?
They didn't come in.
Through their laws, they
We
did.
let them in.
Mm.
We let them in.
Wow.
Here's the thing.
Ooh.
Here's the thing. This is what I got from her. Where is she today? Where is Cornel West at today? Where is the other guys on the panel? Brown. Where are they at today?
Oh, yeah.
Sharon Pratt, Dixon Kelly, who was the mayor of DC at the time, and she was speaking. Where are they today?
That's why I asked you.
Wow,
This
I
video
don't
was
even
made.
know.
They are nowhere to be found. So in the midst
They
of
bought them all.
when you hear Ali speak about all of them are part of the Black Boule.
Mm.
And the Boule is represented by who?
We don't
The so-called
at least
Jews.
say because everybody doesn't know. So
Rothschild.
I don't know who
The Rothschilds and Rockefeller
The Rothschild.
started the Black Boule. Rockefeller and Rothschild started the Black Boule,
Come on.
which all of them are
black,
part
but
Black Boule.
how do you spell that?
Boule.
Hoop jumper. They out to keep.
What is that? We have to assume that no one knows what you're talking about. So if you can give the detail on,
Oh, excuse me.
do me a favor, give me these detail on the Black Boule, because honestly, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, if I had to explain it right now, I think the Black Boule is a society that keeps us unorganized
Thank you.
for the colonizer.
Okay.
Because if truly how she spoke, I asked, where is she today? Because as powerful as she spoke just now, as powerful as Khalid Muhammad spoke, and he's since transcended to his, they got rid of him.
Oh, yeah.
But where are they today? Because if that message hits home right now, it still should be, put in history classes or in Afrocentric classes, and it's not. So, I think Black Boule, they keep us unorganized. Here's the thing.
Sure.
We're not outnumbered.
Right.
As a people. We're out organized as a people. So that's why, and if you look at it again, let's go back 3 weeks ago in Baltimore. If we was organized as a people, that wouldn't even happen. Burn down again your own neighborhood. How long, when are we going to break that cycle of burn down our neighborhood? We done it in '68. I saw for myself when I was 7 years old. I saw the riot. I saw the military come in right in front of my house. I was in the riot at 7 years old.
I wasn't born.
I was that young.
That was a psych operation, though.
Right. Well, however it is, it's still happening today.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wrap it up. So that's what I got from there. Where is she today?
But I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. Let me say just one thing. I agree with you.
Make sure you speak up though.
Sister Soldier was saying the right thing. She was articulating what's going on, but what she's not articulating is what either the Nation of Islam is doing right now is organizing that nation where people can actually become part of, to learn their history, but not just learn your history, because you can go out there and read all these books and know about the Moors and everything, but you don't know how to implement it in real life. That's where the nation comes in. That's where the organizing comes in. That's where the sovereignty comes in.
Well, I'm not gonna say that's what
It's different.
you mean the Nation of Islam?
Yeah.
Because that's where they don't come in. That's where honor comes in. Because they ain't speaking about protection. They ain't speaking about the average people of America. They ain't speaking about baptism. They speaking about United States, state jurisdiction, birth certificate of the United States. That's what Nation of Islam is doing.
No nationality.
Because they talking about doing Dianetics. That ain't something that black people should be doing.
But that's not the only thing that NOI is
So
talking about.
let's do this, because we're gonna stay on topic.
Okay.
The reason why I'm saying, okay, the purpose of me showing this video was, I want to make sure it's clear on purpose. What was the last class about?
Not finances.
Last class was about finance. What was the class about before the finance class? Mission. Yes. Okay. So
Does everybody have their mission statement?
this is the part where organization is created. There's a scripture or there is a text that says it's for a lack of knowledge that people do what?
Perish.
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 What is that lack of knowledge?
Who we are.
Who we are. If you disrupt the people's history, you disrupt their ability to move forward. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
What happened to us on the continent and here? If I ask you, who is your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, can you tell me?
No, I cannot.
No.
If I ask you where you are from,
No.
with the exception of some, can you tell me?
No.
If you have no idea where you came from, how can you discover where you're going? So what we must do is take some time out and do some introspection, because we can't be stuck.
Right.
Because we've been a resilient people, there's a certain thing that we can tap into to know that. But the challenge is cognitive dissonance keeps you from consistently being able to tap into that level. They tell you that you only use 3% of your brain. How many of you believe that? Okay, I don't believe that.
10% at best.
I personally believe that what dumbs us down and interrupts us from utilizing the other aspects of the brain is the foods we eat. The energy that surrounds us. Our inability to vibrate at a higher level. How do I create a higher level of vibration? You get what I'm saying? So it's like what we're doing is we buy into a substandard lifestyle. How many of you have children? How many of you have been a child? Okay, so if you've ever been a child, or if you ever had children, have you ever noticed that your child learns faster than what the educational system teaches them?
Yeah. Definitely.
Have you ever noticed that your children end up bored?
Yes, I do. Yes, I
Why
do.
do you think your children have attention deficit syndrome? Because they're bored. My thing is this: why do we send them to institutions that do not engage them? Why don't we have our own institutions? Where does that fear come from? I'm going to go back to what Brother Aguna said earlier. When we had Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma,
That's right.
what happened to it?
They burned it to the ground.
They burned it to the ground, right?
That's right.
Did we burn it to the ground?
No, we did not.
Who burned it?
The Europeans.
Okay, that was the first bombing in the history of the world from the air.
Absolutely. The second came here.
Right, Rosewood.
In Florida, right?
Florida.
When Rosewood occurred,
Right.
who destroyed that town?
Europeans.
It wasn't us,
The Europeans.
okay? When it comes to Greensboro, North Carolina,
There we go again.
Who destroyed that African town? Get what I'm saying? So I agree with you, Brother Chief Jawad, when it comes to we need not to do it to ourselves, but we weren't the first people to do it to ourselves. We learn things, and then we perpetuate things we learn. And the challenge is that each one teach one. My thing is, as you rear your daughter, as you rear your sons, as you rear your children together, and you teach them the value of who they are and the value of what they have, they're not going to destroy it. How many of us are teaching our children value? And I'm not talking about the fact that you going out buying your children things. I'm talking about actually teaching them value. They're playing with the toy. They go throw the toy. Are you now watching them and saying it's okay to throw the toy?
No.
Or are you showing them that's not the purpose of this toy, that's what a ball is for? You want to throw something here, here's the ball, throw the ball. Don't throw this. This has wheels. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and I'm not, the thing is that it's about instructing the child, not chastising the child. Because I think chastisement, the way we're taught it, that's really from slavery. Beat your child. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Where did we get that from?
Like you said, back from our great and grandparents and all that.
Right.
It goes back. You're right.
It amazes me how African women, meaning on the continent, still know how to take their babies and strap it to them, and they don't have fecal matter or urine running down their breast or down their side. Because the baby knows not to defecate or urinate while it's strapped to the mother. How does a child know this? A newborn. How does the child know this? But yet here, strap a baby to your chest and not have a diaper on that baby. Get what I'm saying? There's certain historical things that or practices that we had that we've given away. But yeah, white people go over and they'll watch. And they're sitting there taking notes. And then they take our history, come back, tweak it, and then say, oh, we discovered this. I watched the other day, for those of you that follow me on Facebook, you'll know that I post a lot of stuff. I really post a whole lot of stuff. Because it baffles me how we got into this position. And my purpose of looking at this stuff, even though it angers me, it's not to be angry. It's to say, what can we do to correct that? So I'm watching, and it showed the history of Congo. And how the king of Belgium, there was an explorer that came into Congo and said he discovered the Congo. How the hell do you discover somewhere where people live? If I go into your house and discover your wife, that's called rape, right?
That's right.
Or opposite of if someone goes to your house and discover your husband, it's called rape either way, right?
Right.
So here's the deal. You can't discover where someone already lives, exists, and occupies. So there was no discovery of America.
That's not like I was going to say.
There was no discovery of any place in the world when it comes to European history.
No.
Now, when it comes to African or ancient Al-Kebalan and ancient Kemet history, we discovered the world. Because we existed, we predate any other race. And we made pilgrimage to various areas. And we inhabited those areas. And then come along the European race and come to a peaceable people that says, oh, come, you're welcome. We have all of this land. And due to lack and greed, they then begin to take over and come to pillage and destroy. There's one segment of that particular clip that wasn't able to show because it's just really long, where literally one of the gentlemen that's speaking, he says, hold on, let's deal with the history of America. What did Columbus do? Number one, he didn't discover America, but we teach that in our history books. But when he did finally get here, he came and he pillaged, he killed, and he took over.
No, he had to go back.
So since this is the history of the country, what do you expect to consistently occur in the country?
Wow.
It was founded on those principles of killing, pillaging, and destroying.
Right.
When our people came to this land, we did not come kill, pillage, and destroy. We built. Everywhere we go, we consistently build. And the only way that we're taken over is when we give up our power to someone else. Why do we see God as white? And we consistently do this, and we allow ourselves, and when I use that word cognitive dissonance, what I'm saying is that you have one belief and someone's sharing something else with you, and it causes confusion. And a confused mind does nothing. So in my humble opinion, what occurred is that they confused our minds, which left us. How else do you take over people? Throughout the world, this has occurred. Tasmania, the people that live there no longer exist. There's not a Tasmanian known to man presently. They killed them all. How do you kill off an entire race of people? How do you kill off an entire species of people? What does all this have to do with what we're talking about? Is that we need to take responsibility. How can we begin taking responsibility? First off, you must know who you are. Ergo, your mission statement. Who am I? What do I bring to the table? My mission statement, I'm a conduit of healing. I know that. I bring about healing. Physical, emotional, spiritual, mental. That's who I am. Once you know who you are, now you know how you flow. When it comes to economics, I'm an accountant by trade. I bring about economic healing. I am a massage therapist. From a physical standpoint, when I touch, I bring about healing. I deal with herbology as a holistic practitioner. I'm looking at the energetics of an herb and recognizing how it relates to your body and how it supports your life. When I get into crystal therapy, I'm looking at what energy vibration you're giving off and what crystals can help heal the maladies within your etheric being. Does this make sense?
Yes, it does.
As a leader, which we are all leaders, I lead from my position of knowing who I am. I am a healer. So no one can confuse me with that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So when someone says, oh, you're an accountant, you're a number cruncher. No, I'm not an accountant number cruncher. I'm an accountant healer. I'm healing you, helping you gain healing in your finances. So we go from your mission statement of understanding who you are. So now you have a firm foundation of standing to now looking at what business can you now incorporate with who you are. So I created a business, Elite Financial Group. I created a business, Full Body Works. Does that complement who I am?
Yes.
Does that make sense now? So the purpose of me, or the purpose of we working together to now look at foundationally, how do we recreate that which we've been given, the lessons that have been put before us, because lessons are only something that you now gain a better understanding of. So now that you can stand to that level, whether it be that we're discovering self-love, whether it being that, you know, we've been through so much from so many abuses, whether abuses to kill you or whether abuses to build you. It's all about perception. I would rather choose that these abuses have been to build me. So now where am I built up? How do I now take those areas that I'm built up and now create a nation of people that can stand strong and proud of where they've been, why they've gone there, how they got there, and now truly uphold truth and justice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So what we're doing is we're working from the ground. The ground is knowing who you are. It's about you first. It has to be about you first.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
Just add to what you're saying, because it's phenomenal that you're talking about healing, because this is something that I've been doing since I was like 8 years old.
Okay, I need you to speak up though, and do me a favor. Conversations, if he's speaking, remember we're recording, so I need to make sure.
No, I said it's funny that you mentioned about healing, because this is something I've been doing since I was 8 years old. And I don't think it's all about knowing your full history or where you come from or this. Sometimes it's intuitive, in that if you live in an environment where your parents give you some kind of leeway, you can find this out, naturally.
Mm-hmm.
The big problem we have in our community is developing this gift that we have, to its full potential. Like, I know I'm a healer. I've been to all sorts of knowledge. I have a library full of books and stuff like that. But I know that for me to achieve a full potential, I'm not going to do it by my own.
Right.
And this is the reason why I am infusing myself or becoming part of honor, because I know that being sovereign is not about having all the knowledge and all the applications in the world. You need people of same trade. Like, you're a healer, I know I'm a healer. I already know it. I heal women, I heal men, people. Even just by your voice, you can heal people. There's so many things that we can do. And funny enough, I went back. This mission statement I have here, because you said everybody should bring their mission statement to class. And I brought mine to class today, because this is something I did in 2002.
Okay.
So this is how many years ago? 11 years ago, I wrote this down.
Okay.
Knowing what it will be today, like seeing into the future. But this is what it reads. My goal is to reach out to the rundown neighborhoods.
Okay, and do me a favor. Your inflection sometimes take your voice down, and remember, because actually, come on up. Read why, because I want people to know.
All right,
see who's reading.
All right, cool. This is something I did back 12 years ago. I just got out of college. There's a lot of things going on in the system. They had the internet bubble. I didn't know where I was going. There was no job. I graduated biomedical electrical engineering at Drexel University. The problem at that time was 80% of people who graduated from my class never got a job. I was like, what is this nonsense, man? I paid $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 going to college, and you tell me there's no job? I should go work for the city, serving coffee. I was like, no, hell no, I'm not going to do that. The spirit, I don't know what led me to, just getting to know exactly what was going on with the system, the economy, what they call it, Illuminati, whatever it was, but I was led towards setting up an organization then that was called Christ Heritage. I just printed this out from my website today. Okay. This website has been on since 12 years ago. And when you said mission statement, I was like, that's funny enough. I have one. But it's still there. I mean, I was doing a lot of stuff, but it hasn't been fully activated yet because of what we're doing. So this is what it reads. Our goal to reach out to the rundown neighborhoods. I used to live in West Philly. I woke up in the morning and I see drugs, crackheads, prostitutes everywhere. I was looking at it, I was like, this is something that I need to be involved in. And the economy of the planet by restoring infrastructure, disseminating relevant truth for empowering our youth to a sense of identity and belonging, using technology and political awareness as tools of delivery. Christ Heritage is a brainchild of King Ogana, who was inspired to give back to the community through a vision, taking back the heritage of Black people. Our streets, businesses, schools, welfare, using technology that Christ Heritage is offering, committed to exploring all available avenues to educate and equip the community, empowering them to take control and nurturing a sense of identity and belongings as true Americans.
Okay. Good stuff. And to reiterate something that you spoke on, have to remember, we've always been considered to be the most what people on the earth?
Forgiving.
Hardworking. Loving.
Passionate.
And forgiving. Passionate.
Compassionate, forgiving, creative.
Trust everything and everyone now.
Okay, and where does that emanate from? Here's what, and I want you to think about this. Whether a person be Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, Muslim, any of these things, when it comes to us, the intensity in which we do it is normally times 100. So they've always said we've been the most spiritual people on the earth. When I talk about cognitive dissonance, the way they keep you from your ancestral heritage is by creating that cognitive dissonance so you're not clear on how to tap into your spirit to know who you are. We're the people, we've always been able to know who we were because we maintain that spiritual awareness. That spiritual awareness is key for knowing your ancestry. Because where someone may be able to physically wipe it away, they cannot take it out of your DNA.
All right. Mm-hmm.
So when Chief talks about the construct of our DNA, and if you remember, for those of you that have seen his health classes, he talks about the way the DNA is made up, and he shows you the pyramidal construct within the melanin and all that stuff. That's there for a reason. It doesn't exist in every quote-unquote human being, but it does exist in us.
It does. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that we must do is begin to tap into our inner selves, but the challenge is once again, that cognitive dissonance. Where does that come from? The foods we eat. So if I eat potato chips or white Irish potatoes, what does that do to our body? Does anyone know what the white Irish potato does for you or to you?
It converts starch into glucose, and the glucose actually destroys the DNA.
Okay. Now, there's
The sugar, I'm sorry.
Yes, and you're correct. There's a molecule called a glycogen molecule that exists within the white potato. Does anyone know what a glycogen molecule is? Okay. The glycogen molecule within the potato, the only part of your body that can actually break that down is the brain.
Wow.
So, if you eat white potatoes and it goes into your digestive system, what has to happen in order for your body to break it down? From a scientific standpoint, all other functions have to stop for your brain now to take time out to help to digest that substance. If your brain is taking time out to do digestion, what's the purpose of your brain?
So you can't think of doing nothing but going back down and blood and everything going back to that stomach part.
Okay, but what is the brain for?
Mental, spiritual, psychological.
Okay, so this is what I need you to do. Write down the word brain. Next week when we come back, I need everybody to have a great understanding of what your brain does. The reason why, and see, there's another thing. We don't even know our body.
It's a facilitator.
But I want everybody to write it down and come back. Because here's the deal. When you take the time out to look at this, you're going to have a great understanding of it. And so no one can confuse you as to what your brain does. Really, no one can confuse you. Because what happens is because we don't have a functional understanding of what the various body parts does, we're confused.
That's right.
So when they tell you, hey, you have an issue concerning your pancreas, what part of the body regulates the pancreas? It's really the thyroid. But what regulates the thyroid? The pineal and pituitary gland. Or really pituitary gland, okay? What helps to regulate the pituitary gland? The pineal gland. Okay? What helps with keeping higher brain function? Having proper oxygen coming through the body. What part of the body helps to make sure that oxygen is consistently going through the blood? The liver. Right? So is there integral connection between the liver, the brain, the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the thyroid, and the pancreas? You get what I'm saying? It's like we're not connecting these things. We go to the doctor and they say, oh, you have an issue with your pancreas. He's not going to tell you you're having an issue with your thyroid, which means you're having an issue with your pituitary gland, which means you're having an issue with the pineal gland, which means you're really having an issue with the liver because the liver is not giving enough oxygen and nutrients to the body because it's congested. Get rid of the congestion in the blood through cleansing of the liver, and a lot of these things will go away.
Excuse me, man, cut it more. What the, is that how with that mucus?
I need you to talk loud.
With that, the mucus, getting rid of that as well?
Congestion is mucus.
Okay, all right, fine, thank you, thank you.
Arthritis is mucus.
Okay.
Everything in the body is foreign to it is a form of debris, mucus, whatever you want to call it. They call it different things depending upon where it is. It's congestion.
Thank you, Brother George. Thank you.
That's right. That's right.
So let's stop allowing people to confuse us with stuff. You have a swelling. It's congestion.
That's right.
And when I'm saying it to be simplistic because I don't want you thinking it's not all that deep. Half the time, if you're growing through something, 9 times out of 10, there's a couple things you can do. You can fast.
Right. Right.
Drinking plenty of water.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
You can go on a vegetable fast. You can go on a fruit fast.
Mm-hmm.
But it's getting rid of dead organisms.
Yes.
And as we spoke about earlier, what's better for you, the steak or the apple?
Apple.
And the reason why the apple's better for you is because of what?
Because it's from a tree and the tree is alive and it helps you breathe.
Yeah.
Right. See?
Yeah.
Now, it's funny because a child gets up and does that like that.
Yeah,
She didn't have to think about it.
No, she didn't.
It was second nature.
Right.
The reason why this is second nature to the child is because of the mother. Am I correct?
She teach me how to be smart.
She teach you how to be smart.
Oh,
But she didn't teach me that. I just know trees help you breathe.
You know trees help you breathe.
Let her speak for herself.
Apples come from trees, and apples are very healthy because trees help you breathe.
Oh,
help you breathe.
now see, here's the key part. When it comes to the nation, this is why we must honor, uphold, and cherish our women. Because they are the builders, the nurturers, and the teachers in the nation.
That's right.
But what we do is we subjugate the women. Who has taught us to do that? Where did that come from?
That's real cool.
So my thing is that one reason why we're having such an issue is because we're off kilter with how we deal with the very goddess that brings forth the gods.
Mhm. Come on with it.
Woman Lynch.
Come on.
We think that it's about the god. No, it's not about the god, it's about the goddess. But when you recognize that the goddess is the bearer of life in every way, shape, and form, you have to respect that. And when you gain respect to that, your whole world changes. I put it like this. If you want to be happy, make the woman happy.
Thank you.
You will find that happiness will encompass our nation if the woman is happy. When she's happy and you come home, are you happy?
Yes. Yes.
Especially when you ask how was my day.
Absolutely.
If she's in disarray and you come home, is your world in disarray?
Yes, it is.
The energy of a woman is so powerful and so strong, but what we've been taught to do is literally control her. You mine, woman. Sit down. What did I say? Go in there and cook my meal.
Oh.
What is that? I mean, like, where do we get this from? We have to change that dynamic. So when it comes down to it, we have the 12 ministries. We have that there. Okay. The reason why we're looking for you, looking to assist you into developing your personal mission statement, because now, once we know who you are, we know how to guide you to the source of your power and help to guide you into understanding what part do I play within my family, my society, my community, my society, and then my nation. So we have a couple different ministries. We have first and foremost the Chief Executive Minister of Government. Then we have the Chief Minister, is that CM as Chief Minister?
Yes.
Chief Minister of Drill Society. We have Chief Minister, Prime Minister of Protocol. We have Chief Minister Secretary. We have Chief Minister of Intelligence and Defense. We have Chief Minister, Department of Internal Operations. Chief Minister of Health. Chief Minister of Cosmology. Chief Minister of Education. Chief Minister, Secretary, Activity and Economics. Chief Minister of Justice. Chief Minister, Ambassadors. And Chief Minister, Ambassadors. Depending upon where you resonate will now determine what ministry you're in. But see, we can't even say, hey, look at this ministry if you don't even know who you are. So this is why we're talking about looking at you first. Once we look at you, now we look at what business you facilitate based upon who you are. Now we look at a budget. Can't operate business without economics. Personal first. Charity begins at home. Love begins at home. Love begins at me, myself, and then it spreads abroad. I can't love there if I'm not loving here first. So it goes back to what we were talking about the other week when you talk about 7 cures of a lean purse.
Wow.
And one of those specific things is pay thyself first.
Yeah, you said that.
Taking 10% of your income and giving unto yourself. And then for those of you that are into, other spiritual or religious groups, 10% to that group as well. Yes.
What are you doing with the 10% that you give yourself?
What
You
are you-
paying bills? What you doing?
No. Pay yourself had nothing to do with bills.
Right.
You're putting it aside in various vehicles that will create revenue for yourself. So when I say pay yourself first, let's say you want to start a business, and for the past 30 years you've been putting away $100 a month. Do you now have an economic thing to flow from? For instance, my niece. When I spoke to my niece years ago, I said to her, before you leave home, have a minimum of $20,000 in your bank account. And when she left home, she had 26.
Come on now.
All right now.
$1,000 in her bank account. Is that a base to flow from?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, yeah.
So my thing is that, how many of us are teaching our children to, before you leave home, have $26,000, have $30,000, have $40,000, $50,000 in your account? How many of us teach our children that?
I don't know. I don't know about 26,000, but I know my sister, my younger sister right now that has 3 kids. Her children, the oldest being 10 right now, by the time they get to 19 years old, they're gonna have $1 million in their account.
Okay.
Because they already started a trust fund, and they already started some program where you pay, I don't know what it is, where you're paying $100 every month or whatever it is you're paying, and in 20 years you cash out $1 million. That's something my parents could have done for me, and I wouldn't even have to be having issues with finances anymore. I had to go through credit cards and loans to learn my mistakes as the first son. So most of the times it's not because of our fault. It's just because of the system we put in, and our parents didn't know any better. But like you just saying right now, you know better. So everybody comes up under you will not have to go through any of those issues.
And the whole point is that each one teach one. You just said something that your sister's doing. I would love to talk to your sister. I don't know everything.
Yes.
What I know. But what your sister knows, I want to know too.
Me too.
That $1 million,
Because it makes a difference. Now, I know how to help you take her, and by the time she becomes of age, have over $1 million. I know how to do that.
Wow.
But the thing is that I still want to know what your sister's doing, because it could be something different than what I'm doing. And my thing is that I would rather have multiple ways
That's right.
rather than having one way. Did I answer your question though?
Yeah.
Okay. Because sometimes, you know, like when you're talking, sometimes you miss. So when it comes down to it, the purpose of us coming together each week is to, number one, have an understanding of who you are operating as a 14th Amendment citizen, if that's where you are, or who you are operating as a sovereign in your sovereign status, in your indigenous status, and how you consistently operate that way, but how to create an economic windfall for yourself as you're operating in an indigenous status. The purpose of the first video we showed was to then think about, what are we doing, and do we have the cure for what Sister Soldier shared? Do we have it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not convinced.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced. Do we have it?
We have the solution.
We have the solution.
We have the solution.
Okay, so now since we know we have the solution, it's about putting feet to the prophecy. Would it be easier to have people want to become a part if every last one in this room had anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 sitting aside just because we can?
I would love that.
Correct. That's absolutely what.
See, here's the purpose. Here's one of the ways in which we create impact. First and foremost, there should be not one amongst us that's in economic disparity when it comes to debt. Not one person.
Right.
There should be not one amongst us that doesn't have a minimum of $5,000 sitting in an account. Minimum. I'm going bare bones because you may be just starting out. So you should have $5,000 sitting aside, actively readily available to you, where you can access at any given moment. And I'm saying minimum. I'm not letting our maximum be our minimums. Minimally. So the goal is to first and foremost help each of us come out of economic disparity, come out of debt, have over $5,000 sitting in an account, chilling.
That's for emergency.
Just because we can. No, not for an emergency, because we can.
Oh, okay.
Because we can. Like one time I asked a friend of mine, why do you do such and such? She's like, because I can.
Yes, I'm arrogant now. Yeah.
No, that's not arrogance.
No, I'm saying how they get.
That's confidence.
Yeah.
Because I can.
I got it like that.
If someone ever asks you a question and you don't, if they say, why do you do such? Because I can. What are you going to say to me?
No.
I remember the other week, somebody was trying to be smart, and I knew they were trying to be smart. Most of the time when I go places, like for instance, I take African dance every single week. Okay, I take it on Saturday, I take it on Monday, and I'm now taking it on Thursday as well. There are times where I'm doing business and then I'm going directly to class. So I may not get there at the beginning of the class, but I get there. I will not. I have to be there because it helps me energetically. It infuses me with energy, and I can now go. You talk about something that just gives you, it's amazing for me. So I got there one day and somebody said to me, why are you always late? I said, because I paid for the class.
Oh, wow. Nothing more to say.
They had nothing to say. Nothing more. They were like,
Got it like that.
what are you going to say? But sometimes my response is, because I can. What are you going to say to me if you ask me a question? I say, because I can. Okay. Choice, voluntary act of that which is preferred. You know, we need to get to a point. We have to get to a point where we can. I don't have 5,000 in an account because I have to. I have 5,000 in an account because I can. I don't have $20,000 sitting in an account because I have to. I'm afraid. No, because I can. Total different energy.
That's right.
When it's because of emergency, it's based in fear. This might occur.
Mm-hmm. That's what I feel.
When it's because you can, it gives you a sense of pride. Because I can. I don't have to. I can do whatever I want with it. But I choose to do this.
Yeah.
Total different area of, okay?
Yes.
So we want to get to the point where we can.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, it is.
So, all right, cool. So what we want to do real quick is we want to go to our all right. Here, you can put that right in. Okay. Thank you. All right, you have your glasses, Jay. I'm turning this over to you for a second to go through our definitions. You could please. Your glasses are, oh, not, okay, all right, good stuff. So we're gonna go right from natural law. All right, so we're gonna go through our definitions real quick, and I need you to stand actually because we are recording, that way people can hear. We're just gonna go through definitions, and for those of you that don't have the list of definitions, we'll send it out again. If you say you don't have it, for those of you that need the list of definitions, it really should be one or possibly two of you at the max. Everybody else should have them. We're going through our definitions, so turn over to Shawat.
Natural law, physical law of nature. 2, psychological system of legal and moral principles properly deriving from a unnaturalized conception of human nature or divine justice rather than from legislative or judicial action. Moral law embodies and principles of right or wrong. Many ethical teachings are based on natural law. Just keep going.
And can you go back over there again, but talk a little louder?
All right, natural law. A physical law of nature. It says gravitation is a natural law of this. Number 2 is psychological system of legal and moral principles. Purportedly derived from an unnaturalized conception of human nature or divine justice, rather than from a legislative or judicial action. Moral law embodies and principles of right or wrong. Many ethical teachings are based on natural law. Commercial law, a substantial law dealing with sales and distribution of goods, the financing of credit transactions on security of security of goods sold and negotiable instruments. Most Americans, commercial law is governed by the Uniform Commercial Code, also termed mercantile law. You want me to get the page number?
That's actually
What's this page number? I don't know when you get the page number.
oh, that's
I got no.
9. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's found in Page 305, Black's Law, 9th edition. Okay. Common law.
Hold on, real quick. When you talked about, you said, what was that last one you read, the first one? I mean, the last one you read? Commercial law?
That's commercial law.
Okay, so, commercial law. One reason why we're going through this part is, first off, we went through, what was, the first one was natural law?
Natural law.
Okay, so all of us have a natural law. Oh, no, don't do that. Natural law, as it talks about, most people are governed based on natural law. However, now we have these other laws that we fall into. So commercial law is based on the UCC code, Uniform Commercial Code. How many of us have ever looked at the Uniform Commercial Code? Okay, so out of everybody in the room, we had one person that has looked at it. Two. Okay, so Uniform Commercial Code, if you're not having somewhat of an understanding of how we're regulated relative to business, how can you operate a business? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So this is why when I say we're literally going to slow walk this, and it's going to take a little while, it's okay. Some of us are going to run fast, some of us are going to run slow, but everyone's going to run in one way, shape, or form. But what we're going to do is begin to break down these different things so that we're clear on what we are doing. You don't need to know all the law in order to operate, but we must at least be familiar with what's out there so we'll know where to go to. If there's a law that governs particular things, then now you know where to go to look on how it's governed. If something's being brought against you, are you going to go to natural law if it's within the Uniform Commercial Code, or are you going to go to Uniform Commercial Code? You know what I'm saying? So you need to know where to go to get your answers. That's the purpose of why we're here, to help guide you to have a better understanding on where you're going to get what you need to get the outcomes that you're looking for. So that's the purpose of us going through this segment, because sometimes we think, well, why are we doing this? We're reading definitions. What's the purpose of reading definitions? Defining things so you now have somewhere to stand relative to when you're going to be impacted by these things.
The third one is common law. The body of law derived from judicial decisions rather than the statuses of all constitutions. Case law, page 313, Black's Law Dictionary, about 9th edition.
Which one was that again?
Common law.
Common law. All right, so common law is derived from what again?
Judicial decisions.
The judicial decisions.
Rather than status or constitution.
All right, so when it comes down to it, these are things, when you're actually being confronted with needing to present something, if you don't know how to find case law, then how do you know how to position yourself? And this is really for the law masters, because those of us that aren't law masters, it doesn't matter. Because we can go to someone, but we need to make sure the law masters have a true understanding on how to find case law to support the argument. You have to have a precedent. So
Statutory law, a body of law derived from statuses rather than from the Constitution or judicial decisions. Also termed statute law, legislative law, ordinary law. It says common law, constitutional law, page 1547, Black's Law Dictionary, volume 9. Okay. So that's statutory law.
So question, statutory law versus the first one before that was common law, right?
Common law.
Okay,
Common law.
so which one is going to hold a higher precedent, statutory law or common law?
Judicial decision.
Common law.
Common law.
Why common law, not you? Anyone else?
Well, actually, this is my saying that this is a common law statement here. It's common law itself, I do believe. Here, Virginia, these are the Commonwealth and common law of the state will fall under. The laws will fall under this state.
All right, here why you're thinking that. Anybody else? Okay.
Common law is natural. I mean,
No, common law is not natural.
I don't mean natural law. I don't mean in that sense.
Common law is based on what? What did he just say common law was based on?
Judicial decisions.
Judicial decisions. What is statutory law based on? What did it say again?
Body of law derived from statutes rather than from the Constitution or
All right.
judicial decisions.
So I have a statute. A statute says, and I don't know how law works, so I'm just going to give an instance, and it may not be applicable for those of you that are law people. So don't fry me. There's a statute that says I can stop and frisk you.
Oh.
But there is common law that is based in judicial decisions that says that it's illegal for me to stop and frisk you.
That's right.
Which one holds precedence?
Common.
The law that has been actually executed in from a judicial standpoint, or something that I'm stating, statute? Which one holds precedence?
Common.
Is everyone clear on that? I need everybody to be clear on what I'm saying.
It's a tricky thing.
Okay. You go before a judge makes a decision. It is now considered common law. It's case law. You can look it up and you can bring it, and if you make an argument, you can say based upon Slavy versus Foster, it has been such and such that it was illegal for this to occur.
Mm-hmm.
A statute comes up stating that it's okay to do this. It's a statute. Is it steeped in a decision based on judicial practices? You know what I'm saying? So statutory law would never supersede that of common law, because common law has a precedence in which it stands on. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense. Okay. How do I'm trying to help you get it, so I need your help with it.
Again, common law is based off of
The body of law.
the body of common law is based off the body of law.
And the statutory law is derived from law. From
Take it from there.
so it's taken, it's derived, like we talked about earlier about the fruit. About you got seedless fruit there, right? You have fruit with seeds in it. So that fruit that you have is derived from something.
Right. That's what I'm trying to get at. That I'm trying to understand which one. What's
the original?
Right. That's what I want.
The original is common law.
All right. That can at no point ever this other one, which is
Statutory law cannot supersede.
That's what I'm trying to understand.
For instance, if there's a federal decision, a law that is federal decision in federal law, and a court of common plea has a decision that is different than that of federal law automatically trumps it. But you must present the argument properly. The argument's not presented properly, common law can win, but it's only because of how you presented it.
All right.
So for instance, they presented to you that you have seedless grapes. You're like, oh, well, why should I get seeds? I can just do the seedless grape. No one's ever presented to you the fact that seedless grapes can't be natural because everything produces a seed. So the moment it's seedless, it's not natural. Oh, now you have a different body of information to stand on. And because of how it's presented to you will determine whether you continue to use the seedless or whether you use the seed. Does that make sense now?
Yes,
Here's the deal. I need for everyone to get this. We need for everyone to get this. Because when we all get it, now it's a totally different ball game. The challenge is we're going to go right back to here. We're not outnumbered. We're out what?
Organized.
When everyone gets it, are we organized?
That's right.
Never ever feel like you can't ask a question. Never ever feel like it's a dumb question. Never ever feel like because you don't get it like that, that you're less. Everyone sees differently. The reason why we do the classes the way we do, because they're different type of learners. There's the kinesthetic. I need to touch it, feel it, manipulate it. I got it. There's the visual. I need to see it in order to get it. There's the audible. I need to hear it. And I got it. He's audible. If you notice, he's audible. He's sitting there, he's like this. I'm kinesthetic. I have to touch it. There's some people that are visual. Knowing the people you're around, knowing how they learn, and then helping them learn in the manner in which they internalize it, then helps them. So we need to make sure that everyone gets it.
Your computer's gonna shut down after this.
It's not going to because I keep it stopped. Yeah, it shouldn't. Let's go. Let's said that before. All right, so everyone's clear now.
Yes, sir. I am.
Yeah, good.
So next one was local. A statute that relates to or operates in a particular locality rather than the entire state. Second, a statute that applies to particular persons or things rather than an entire class of persons or things. Also termed in senses 1 and 2, local act, local statute, case statute. Which says pages 3, the law of particular jurisdiction, and as opposed to laws of foreign state, also termed internal law, conflicts of laws, the body of standards, principles, and rules, including conflicts of laws that the state courts apply. That the state court applies to conversations before them. That's page 1023, Black Law Dictionary.
Which one was that?
That's local. That's local. It says local.
Local. Okay. All right. How many have
What
we done?
edition? What edition is that back to?
Nice.
Ninth.
How many have we done?
Page 1023.
Five so far.
Okay, that's what we're going to just five.
You five?
Yeah,
Okay.
good. Yeah, 5. So, can you go back over local again?
Local. A statute that relates to or operates in a particular locality rather than the entire state. 2, a status that applies to particular persons or things rather than an entire class of persons or things. This is also termed in senses 1 and 2, local act, local statute, case statute. It says page number 74 to 108. Third, the law of particular jurisdiction as opposed to the law of foreign state. Also termed internal law. 4, conflicts of laws, the body of standards, principles, and rules, including conflicts of laws, rules that apply to conversations before them.
So think about this. I appreciate you. Thank you. When you think about this, we talk about stop and frisk. What body of law is that now flowing from?
Statutory.
State statute.
Statutory.
Right. It's local. And the funny thing is actually local
Local. That's
statutory.
right.
Yeah.
Reason why you say local is because that's only in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
That's not in the state.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Now, do you get why we go through these? Because now, do you have a better understanding of stop and frisk is illegal? Is it legal? Locally. So if it's only if it's only legally locally, might there be
Yes.
law
Yes.
that shows that it's really illegal?
Yes.
Because it is.
Okay.
That would have to be higher, being federal.
So the reason why I'm sharing that is because don't automatically acquiesce
Ooh.
to things.
What they do?
To that.
You okay, love?
Chief, you want, is there
Okay.
any case law in point where the stop and frisk has been overturned on the federal level? Do you know? I don't know.
I don't know, but you're handing something.
Mhm.
Is there something there?
Well, it's a law enforcement about, basically about showing identification You don't have to show identification to a police officer. Case law,
Supreme Court rule on that.
Supreme Court rule in 1983.
So is that actually, you
No,
saying
he
that
got
that's
that. He
actually
got that
stopping the
ability.
frisk?
Sure.
Well, stop and frisk is not saying stop and frisk.
Yeah,
It's saying you don't have to present ID.
Okay, so here's the circumstance.
Different thing.
I like to make sure we're applying
Right.
the proper things, because have you ever say something, somebody, oh, well, you could do such, and you're like, that doesn't relate. We need to make sure